Have you ever faced a problem so big it felt like hitting a giant, unbreakable wall? A challenge that seemed completely impossible to overcome? Well, today we're diving into a story about a real wall, a massive one, and how it came crashing down in the most unexpected way. This is the story of Joshua and the Battle of Jericho. After the legendary Moses passed away, the leadership of the Israelites fell to a man named Joshua. God had a huge promise for him and the people, the land of Canaan, a land flowing with milk and honey. But there was a major obstacle standing in their way: the city of Jericho. This wasn't just any city. It was a fortress with towering thick walls that seemed to touch the sky. Inside, the soldiers were strong, well-armed, and ready for a fight. From a human perspective, taking Jericho looked like a suicide mission. Joshua probably stood there, looking at those walls, wondering how they could possibly succeed. But then, God gave him the battle plan. And it was weird. It wasn't about siege towers or battering rams. God told Joshua, "I want you and your army to march around the city once a day for 6 days. Just walk around it silently. On the 7th day, I want you to march around it 7 times. After the 7th lap, have the priests blow their trumpets, these special horns called shofars, and when you hear one long, loud blast from the trumpets, I want the entire army to shout as loud as they can." Can you imagine what the soldiers thought? March and shout. That's the plan. It must have sounded crazy. Their enemies were probably laughing at them from the top of the walls, watching this strange daily parade. It made no logical sense. It went against every known military strategy. This is where the story gets really powerful. Despite how strange the plan was, Joshua had faith. He trusted that God knew what he was doing, and because Joshua trusted, the people obeyed. So, for 6 days, they did exactly that. They got up, formed their lines, and marched once around the mighty city of Jericho in complete silence, with only the sound of their feet on the ground. Day 1. Nothing. Day 2, the walls stood just as strong. Day 3, Day 4, Day 5, Day 6, still nothing. It must have been a huge test of their patience and faith. But they kept going. Then came the 7th day. This was the big one. They got up extra early and began to march. 1 time around, 2 times, 3 times. The tension must have been building with every step. 4, 5, 6 times around the city. Finally, they completed the 7th lap. The city was circled. The army stood still, waiting. Then the priests raised their trumpets to their lips, and the air was split by the powerful, piercing sound of the shofars. It culminated in one final, long, earth-shaking blast. At that signal, Joshua gave the command, and a massive, unified shout erupted from the throats of the entire Israelite army. It wasn't just a yell, it was a roar of faith, a declaration of trust in God's promise. And in that moment, the impossible happened. The Bible says the walls of Jericho just fell. They collapsed, crumbling into a pile of rubble. The path into the city was wide open. The Israelites charged in and won a miraculous victory, all because they chose to obey a plan that made no sense. So, what can we learn from this incredible story? First, faith often means trusting God's instructions even when our logic screams otherwise. God's ways are not our ways, and His plans can look very different from ours. Second, obedience is the key that unlocks victory. The Israelites didn't just believe, they acted on that belief step by step, day by day. And third, God can use small, consistent, disciplined actions to bring about massive results. It wasn't one big heroic act, but 7 days of faithful marching that brought the walls down. This story reminds me of a powerful verse God spoke to Joshua right before all this began. "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." So whatever war you're facing in your life right now, whether it's in your career, your relationships, your health, or your faith, remember the story of Jericho. Your breakthrough might not come from your own strength or cleverness, but from your courage to trust God and obey Him, even when it looks a little crazy to everyone else. Be strong, be courageous, and keep marching. You never know when your shout of faith will be the thing that brings the walls tumbling down. Thanks for watching today. If this story encouraged you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that inspires. See you in the next video.